Hey folks, welcome back to 247 Tech Talk. I want to say thank you first of all to all the subscribers, the new subscribers. Thank you for those of you who continue to like, share, comment, and continue to grow the channel. I'm very appreciative of you. As you would likely know, I do various types of tech reviews and ranging from tech gadgets to by motorcycles to mods. It's all about technology and thinking and going beyond the limits. But every so often we need to take a break, right? And I decided, I'm be a little comfortable here. I decided to take a break and take a trip away from here with my family, someplace less technology, just because it's important not only to refresh, but to allow me to recreate ideas of mods and etc. in my mind. This is going to be part one of what may be a part 2 or 3 series. And the reason I'm separating it is on April 11th of this year, I left to go on vacation. And one would have thought that this type of video would have started with me talking about technology or what I used or whatever. But what really happened here is something that's more remarkable. I don't know how, for many years ago and for many years, I used a taxi service in New York called Carmel Auto. And so when I was thinking, my entire family was going a flight. We had to leave home at 12:30 a.m., so 30 minutes after midnight, to be at the airport by a little before 2 o'clock to check in. And it's important because in New York they're doing construction at the airport, and they can take you an hour, which it did, to get from the actual entrance of the airport to your terminal. So I requested a taxi for 8 suitcases, 4 people. And I'll run straight into the ordeal and straight through it really quickly, just for you to understand that even when you use a professional service, they can be unprofessional and they can almost cost you your life. The first curious thing that happened was the taxi arrived at 10:30 for a 12:30 pickup. I was outside throwing out garbage and stuff before we left, so nothing would be left in the house. And I rapped on the window, and there was this young Asian woman. I'm saying Asian not because she's Asian, but because I'm describing exactly who it was. Very short, and it was like a Cadillac Escalator, something, a big vehicle like that. Either the Escalator or what's that? The Expedition. It was one of those, but it's big vehicle. It was obvious right when I looked through the window, she was trying to roll down the window. She didn't know how to, so eventually she came out the car and told me she was my driver. About 15 minutes after midnight, they came out with the suitcases, helped her pack the truck because she couldn't figure out how to get 8 suitcases into the back of a sizable cargo area, which meant that maybe this was not the type of vehicle I should have received. Nevertheless, we all piled in. She started driving. She had the screen on the car, the GPS, plus 2 phones with 2 GPS apps that looked like to her left behind the steering wheel. She drove out kind of like a curve on a cul-de-sac to get out of my house, and she stopped at the first curve, not sure where to go. So I pointed to her where she should go. She went to the stop sign. She had to make a left. She made a dangerous left because something was coming. But the way she maneuvered the vehicle is kind of like when a person is driving a big vehicle or an unknown vehicle for the first time. The way the turn went, I said to her, "Is this your vehicle? Because it seems big for you." And she just kind of smiled. We got to the first stop sign. She barely stopped in time. We got to the second stop sign. She rolled right through it. We got to the light. She made a left. We're heading towards the expressway now. She made a right, I'm sorry. Pulled up to the stop sign where there's the mark, or the white mark on the road that says stop here before the light because cars and vehicles turn on the opposite lane. She stopped for a second, rolled right through that, and rolled up to the light and underneath the light like she was going to go through it. So I'm kind of sitting there going, huh. The light changes. She makes an awkward left. Again, I said to her again, "You sure this is your vehicle?" She just smiles. We get to the expressway. She gets on the expressway, and from the first turn of the expressway, I started to feel unsettled. Now, to give you context, she's driving. I'm on the passenger seat in front. In the second row of this vehicle is my wife and my son. And in the third row, which only one seat was up because the others were down to accommodate the suitcases, was my daughter. We get on the Southern State Parkway. She moves over to the left lane, and within a minute or so, she's doing like 80. My wife is saying, slow down, slow down. I'm watching her, and I'm watching the lights on the blind side mirrors go on. And it's not because there's a car that's coming up behind her, she's in her lane. It's because she is veering out of her lane, across the white line into the oncoming traffic behind her. I keep telling her slow down, but she's not really slowing down. Now, my son, as you know, and I feel for him, he's not autistic, but he scored very high on the autism spectrum, and he has ADHD. I've shared this with my podcast audience before. So I look back and he's biting something, he's shaking like this, and I'm telling him, calm down, it'll be okay. But in the meantime, I'm concerned. In hindsight, I should have probably taken out one of my cameras out of my bag and started recording, but I was more focused on our survivability here. I keep telling her slow down, and she's not really saying much, and she's doing 75, 80. A few times I kind of raised my voice a little bit. She slowed down, went back up. Then it got worse because the Southern State Parkway has several turns where there's a yellow border around the turn with the arrows basically saying sharp turn 15 miles per hour. Again, it was evident that she was not used to this vehicle because she kept accelerating around the turn. So now we're doing like 80 miles per hour around this turn. This whole vehicle is tilting. Around exit 19 on the Southern State, I noticed that it said all lanes closed at exit 15. I kept saying it. She didn't listen. She kept going. But eventually she had to slow down because you saw the traffic stopped ahead and the police lights. I told her, you got to get off here. You got to get off here. Several times I kept pointing. Eventually she got off, and then she didn't know where to go. I said, use your GPS. She tried to go right. I said, no, going right is going back east. Go left. So eventually she made a left turn, a really dangerous turn again because she almost crushed the car because she turned left from the middle lane. She puts on her GPS while she's driving. She figures this out. She starts following some traffic. She has to make a right turn. She makes a right turn. We end up on the curb and back off the curb. She goes ahead, and I say, okay, there's the entrance. We've passed exit 15. Go ahead, make the left. She makes the left rather precariously, but again, I'm hoping now that we're not that far from the airport. And I'm really hoping that the construction is actually a problem so that she'll slow down in the airport. She continues on the Southern State. She gets to the point where you go left for the Belt Parkway. There's a big, dangerous curve there again. She goes around the first curve onto the Belt Parkway, probably at 75. This is a big vehicle again. And then when you go up maybe 1 or 2 miles up the Belt Parkway, there's sort of a hard right. Big yellow signs. It's under an overpass. And at this point, we do this turn at about 75 again. And by this point, my daughter is crying. My wife is saying, what's going on? My son is squealing and holding and shaking. And I'm telling them, calm down, we're almost there. And I look up through my left eye. She's on her GPS with the wheel in her hand. And we are barreling down to the back of a car because traffic had stopped abruptly. I start yelling at her and screaming. I've got a big voice. At my top of my voice, my children are screaming. My wife starts screaming. She looks up seconds before, slams on the brake, stops behind this car, probably, I would say, within 3 inches. I don't know how we didn't hit. And then she looks at me, she says, sorry. Now traffic is stopped. People start moving off into the right lane, and it's because there was a vehicle that was, I guess, broken down and was traveling really slowly. She pulls up behind the vehicle with its flashes on, traveling really slowly now. But that she realized she almost cost us our lives, and she's, I guess, shaking. So she's just rolling behind him at 2 miles per hour. So I say, eventually, he's broken down. You have to go around him. At that point, the vehicle with the hazard light stops, and this driver guy gets out, walks over to our car. That's how close we are. And she rolls down the window. He starts telling her something, and she's like, no. And she rolls up the window. She realizes, this is 1 o'clock in the morning. She shouldn't have done this. So now she has to back up on the Belt Parkway because he stopped. Several attempts, we almost got hit. Eventually, she backs it real quick and pulls around, causing the car that's coming in the middle lane to sort of really swerve over to the right lane. She starts driving. We're at the Bell Parkway. Maximum speed 50 miles per hour. I'm watching it go 60, 65. I'm yelling, slow down. The speed limit's 50. Stop speeding. She slows down to maybe 60. She keeps going. We get on the JFK Expressway. We get into the airport, the JFK, the whole campus, so to speak. We go to veer off to go to Terminal 4. She still go around the turns at an incredible speed. I don't know how we didn't crash. But eventually she hits traffic. That's the first time I heard my wife's voice calm a bit, because now she can't go anywhere. We're in literal bumper traffic for an hour. But we get to a point now where we're the last turn off to get to my terminal. I can see it. I kept telling her, but she's in the left lane. I began to realize with her reactions that she was like right up to the steering wheel, looking dead ahead like we didn't exist in the car. I began to realize they also sent me a driver who does not speak much English. I told her, I said, you have to go to the right. You have to go to the right, Terminal 4. She waits until it's almost impossible. So to get to that from left to right in bumper-to-bumper traffic, I had to roll down my window and I had to lean my head out the window and wave to cars and ask them to let us pass. We go off. She still goes up the ramp too fast, and we finally put up to the terminal. Everybody was relieved. I get out the car. We take out our luggage. She comes out to me. I had agreed to pay cash. I pay cash, and she's standing there like she's waiting for a tip. And I say to her, I've used Carmel for years. This is the worst. You almost killed me and my family. She says, okay. And she walks away. When I went to South America. When I got there, I made a phone call to Carmel. I made a complaint. They promised a call back from the complaint department that Monday, because I got in that Saturday. I made the complaint probably Sunday. The call never came. A week later, I got a call saying, oh, we the complaint. We want to tell you sorry. I said, sorry is not good enough. I paid $100 and something, $125 for a trip that almost cost us our lives. You guys obviously gave some taxi driver a vehicle she had maybe never driven before. The fact that she was able to come and sit 2 hours in front of my house before the scheduled time probably means you don't give her many trips. And you decide to dump my family into the hands of someone who was, I'm probably very sure, has never driven that size of vehicle before. At that point to the Bell Parkway, when we were screaming so loud, probably the planes above heard us as she slammed on the brake. 4 inches more. And we might not be having this conversation because you're talking about a vehicle like that hitting another one in the back, several cars ahead, doing like 75 on a 50 mile per hour. And it would have been no skid marks because she wouldn't have been able to hit the brakes in time. I'm waiting for Carmel to make this right. But I told them, I'm going to post this on my social media. I'm going to ask every subscriber to share. Not because I'm trying to damage Carmel. I use them for years. But when you pay for a service, you didn't flag a taxi down, and you pay for a service to take you and your family safely somewhere. Remember, we're getting on a plane now for a 5-6 hour ride, plane ride. You have to go through immigration, security, all this. We came out of that vehicle a mess. Now, in case people want to say, well, why didn't you get out? I looked around when we were in the southern states. I thought about my options. I'm on the southern state with my family, 4 of us, with 8 suitcases. That can't fit in a regular cab. I have to get to the airport. As I told you, when we got to the entrance of the airport, there was an hour just to get from there to Terminal 4, which is not that far in. We're before JetBlue, we're before AA, all these airlines. And that's the international arrivals and departures terminal. So understand, I took the risk. However, we may look at it, because I had very few options on the highway that leads straight from my house, straight into, you follow Southern State, Bell Parkway, straight into the terminals of JFK. People might say, well, was it worth your family's life? As a man, a spiritual man, I just thank God that it didn't. I probably would have made several different decisions if I had to do it again. I still don't know how I would have solved 8 suitcases on the side of the highway at 1 o'clock in the morning with a family of 4 and it's cold. But I do know that I will tell you that I used a different taxi service when I came back, and I'm going to talk about them in a different video, maybe a video in a better tone as I show you glimpses of where I went and what I enjoyed. But I will say to you, be careful which taxi service you choose. And if you follow and heed warnings, I can tell you from my personal experience, after years of using them, that I will never, ever, ever use Carmel Taxi service in New York, or anywhere else for that matter if they exist, again. I'm here by the grace of God. I'm thankful to be here. I'm thankful for you. This is not a tech message, and it's a bit long, but I think it was purposeful and necessary. Thank you for your time, and thank you for your support. Until the next time, this is 247 Tech Talk, out.